Chairman?
Yes.
Let's be clear here. Nobody is interested in the ramblings of a capo in the most corrupt regime in American history. We want to get some facts about this deal. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and I will ask my questions first today.
And we would like to hear what Adam Wyden and Jeffrey Epstein talked about. Your son's largest investment position was Rick's Cabaret. So did your son and Jeffrey Epstein talk about pole dancing as he begged him for money using your limited credibility?
Should I just proceed?
I'm going to proceed with my questions.
Looking for a fast way to track what's moving online right now? Head over to Qnotables.com. It's a centralized index of notable clips, headlines, and references being shared across the community, organized for quick browsing. Use it to spot patterns, pull links, and build your own research list. Qnotables.com. Browse the notables, verify the facts, stay informed. All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's June 3, 2026, good morning. This is Qnotables 4 a.m. Talking Points Live, and we begin with the top story. The Gulf is heating up fast. U.S. forces intercepted Iranian drones and missiles after Tehran launched attacks tied to Kuwait and Bahrain. Reports say American forces also carried out self-defense strikes against Iranian military targets on Qeshm Island. Iran launched ballistic missiles and drones toward Gulf targets, and Kuwait International Airport was hit. Reuters reported one person killed, multiple injuries, damage to airport infrastructure, and flight disruptions. This is no longer a contained Iran-Israel conflict. This is now a wider Gulf security crisis involving U.S. forces, commercial shipping, regional allies, and active defense operations. CENTCOM released imagery of the USS Rafael Peralta operating in the Arabian Sea as part of maritime security and blockade enforcement. The destroyer is deployed in the U.S. Fifth Fleet area, where American forces are monitoring commercial traffic and enforcing restrictions around Iranian-linked maritime activity. As of June 3, CENTCOM says forces have redirected 125 commercial vessels and disabled 6 to ensure compliance. That means this is not just diplomacy. This is an active military and maritime enforcement operation. President Trump gave a wide-ranging interview on Iran, saying Tehran has agreed not to pursue a nuclear weapon while talks continue. Trump also left open the possibility of meeting Iran's supreme leader if negotiations move forward. At the same time, he made it clear that military options remain on the table. The White House message is direct: diplomacy is open, but the United States is not stepping back from force protection or regional enforcement. Trump also confirmed a tense phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Trump said he used blunt language during the call because he was frustrated by continued fighting involving Lebanon. He also said he respects Netanyahu and works well with him. The exchange shows real pressure inside the U.S.-Israel relationship as Washington tries to manage Iran, Israel, Lebanon, and the Gulf at the same time. Now to domestic politics. President Trump's decision to place Bill Pulte in an acting intelligence role is creating a fight on Capitol Hill. Senator Thom Tillis criticized the move, while Senators John Thune and Tom Cotton responded as Washington weighed the future of the intelligence chain of command. Senate Democrats are warning that Pulte's role could complicate renewal of FISA Section 702, the surveillance law used to target foreigners overseas that also raises concerns about collection involving Americans. The appointment fight, the intelligence fight, and the surveillance fight are now connected. President Trump also signed an anti-debanking order directing federal regulators to stop banks from denying services based on political beliefs, religious beliefs, or lawful business activity. The White House says the move is designed to protect fair access to banking and stop politicized financial blacklisting. For conservatives, this has been a long-running issue. Trump is now moving to put federal pressure on financial institutions that use politics as a reason to cut off lawful customers. On Capitol Hill, House and Senate committees are reviewing the administration's fiscal year 2027 budget requests. That includes Treasury, State, DHS, maritime programs, and foreign policy funding. These hearings decide how Congress funds border enforcement, diplomacy, financial regulation, national security, and America's maritime future. House Republican leadership also held a news conference as Congress handled budget fights, Iran policy, surveillance authority, and domestic political fallout. The message from leadership is focused on advancing the Trump agenda while managing pressure from Democrats and Republican lawmakers. Secretary of State Marco Rubio testified on Iran, foreign policy, and the administration's diplomatic posture. Rubio defended the administration's approach while facing questions about negotiations, military escalation, and who is leading talks. Senator Jackie Rosen challenged Rubio over Iran negotiations, accusing him of being absent during high-stakes talks. Rubio pushed back and defended his role and the administration's foreign policy chain of command. Iran policy is now one of Washington's sharpest political fights. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent testified before the Senate Finance Committee on President Trump's 2027 budget. His statement focused on economic expansion, tax policy, and the administration's financial agenda. Senator Ron Wyden and Democrats pressed the administration over costs, priorities, and accountability. The fight over the budget is not just about numbers. It is about who pays, who benefits, and what the federal government prioritizes next. The Trump administration's proposed anti-weaponization fund has been scrapped, according to Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. The fund had been tied to compensation for lawfare victims and Trump allies, but backlash and legal pressure ended the plan. The larger fight over political prosecutions is not over. The question now is whether Congress or the administration will find another path to address people targeted through politically driven investigations and prosecutions. In media and culture, Greg Gutfeld and his panel discussed a former New York Times columnist calling for the demegafying of America. The phrase is being used as another example of how corporate media and political elites describe Trump voters as a problem to be corrected instead of citizens to be represented. The five also discussed Jill Biden's role in defending Joe Biden and Kamala Harris from political fallout. The panel focused on who knew what, when they knew it, and how long senior Democrats protected the public image of the Biden White House.
At shop.isawaya.com, everything you buy supports acun.top, the place where people talk freely no matter what. Check out our Acun Honey Pot, a jar of yummy honey that's as strong as your voice. Put it on toaster and tea. It's not just honey, it's freedom in every bite. Then there's Acun Butter, a smooth handmade skin cream that makes you feel good while you fight for what's right. Awesome wood and pieces for display only. Hang them up or set them out. They're for showing off Acun's tough spirit. Want to help even more? Get a proto membership. So go to shop.isawaya.com now and grab some goodies. Help Acun.top keep free speech alive, and let's keep the ideas flowing loud and free.
Start your day right with Ahoy the Ship Show, where real talk meets real energy. No fluff, no filter, just stories, opinions, and moments that matter. Catch us live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Your daily launch point for what you need to know, and a few things you didn't. Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. Switch gears with Night Owl News Archives. A laid-back dive into the week's biggest headlines and hidden gems. Miss a show? Visit don'tdeletemebro.com for notes, highlights, and extras. Tap in or get left behind.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's June 3, 2026 now to election integrity and the 2026 political map. California's governor race remains unsettled as votes continue to come in. Steve Hilton and Xavier Becerra are leading the field, setting up a possible Republican versus Democrat general election under California's top two primary system. The final matchup depends on the full count, and California is once again showing why vote counting, ballot processing, and public confidence matter. The Los Angeles mayoral race is also headed toward a runoff. Mayor Karen Bass failed to clear the 50% mark, with Spencer Pratt and Nithya Raman competing for the second runoff position. The race has become a national story over crime, homelessness, fire response, and city leadership. Jesse Waters covered the California primary results, focusing on the governor's race and the Los Angeles mayoral contest. California remains a national test case for crime, taxes, homelessness, elections, and political backlash. In South Dakota, Trump-endorsed Republicans Mike Rounds and Marty Jackley moved towards strong primary victories. The results keep major Republican names in position for November and show Trump's endorsement still carries weight in state-level federal races. While California shows political uncertainty, South Dakota shows the continued strength of Trump-aligned Republican politics in red state primaries. Now, back to international conflict. Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir is backing legislation to restrict loud mosque broadcasts of the Islamic call to prayer. Supporters frame the proposal as a public noise and order issue. Opponents call it religious discrimination. The fight shows how religious tension remains central inside Israeli politics, while Israel also deals with Iran, Lebanon, and regional pressure. British MP Rupert Lowe read survivor testimony in Parliament about grooming gangs and institutional failure. The accounts described years of abuse, intimidation, and failures by police and public agencies to protect vulnerable girls. The speech is renewing pressure for a national investigation and real accountability. In another UK case, an autistic teenage girl was arrested after making a comment comparing a police officer to her lesbian grandmother. That case became a symbol of heavy-handed hate speech enforcement in Britain. Raheem Kassam is drawing attention to the murder of Henry Nowak, arguing that the case has political significance and should not be dismissed as an isolated crime story. The case has sparked protests, public anger, and debate over crime, policing, and political accountability in the United Kingdom. These stories from Britain all point to the same issue: law enforcement, public trust, free speech, and whether governments protect citizens or punish them for speaking out. Now to crime, corruption, and institutional accountability. Senator John Kennedy blasted violent anti-ICE protesters after unrest outside the Delaney Hall detention facility in Newark. Kennedy said protesters have a right to speak, but not to attack law enforcement. The remarks came after arrests, curfews, and clashes around the facility. Online investigators are also pointing to activist networks, an NGO linked organizing behind the Newark anti-ICE protests. One report focused on how a short signal message helped shut down a large planned protest. The bigger question is whether these demonstrations are spontaneous or organized political operations. A former NIH Ebola researcher was arrested in a case involving allegations of illegally bringing dangerous biological material into the United States. Reports tied to Vincent Munster and another researcher also allege the smuggling of monkeypox material connected to an African outbreak. These stories renew scrutiny of pathogen research, lab security, foreign outbreak work, gain-of-function concerns, bat virus studies, and oversight of high-risk biological materials connected to American scientific institutions. The CDC's vaccine advisory process is again under scrutiny after questions about COVID vaccine safety data and updated shots. CDC guidance has shifted toward individual decision-making for the 2025 to 2026 vaccine cycle, while safety concerns such as myocarditis remain part of the public debate. The public wants straight answers, clean data, and accountability from agencies that spent years demanding trust. A whistleblower provided Stanford's private foreign funding disclosures to the Stanford Review, exposing Chinese state-linked donors and restricted gifts. The report raises national security concerns about foreign influence, elite universities, and sensitive research pipelines. Congress has already pushed for more transparency on foreign money in higher education, and Stanford is now part of that larger fight. Joseph Sandberg, co-founder of Aspiration Partners, was sentenced to 14 years in prison for a $248 million fraud scheme. Prosecutors said he misled lenders and investors while the company marketed itself as a green financial platform. The case is another warning about celebrity-backed finance, ESG branding, and companies selling moral image while hiding financial misconduct. Utah Governor Spencer Cox appointed Tony F. Graff to the 4th District Court in 2025. Online discussion is now revisiting Graff's background and prior cases, including child sexual assault matters. The appointment is drawing attention because judges handling sensitive cases require public trust and careful vetting. When courts deal with crimes against children, the public has every right to ask hard questions about the people placed on the bench. Vandals reportedly sabotaged generators tied to President Trump's Freedom 250 event, spilling fuel and contaminating underground water tanks. The incident adds to security concerns around the America 250 celebration and follows controversy over performers withdrawing from the event. The countdown is now on for America's 250th anniversary, and the fight over how America tells its own story is already front and center.
Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. 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 Share the site with others. Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. 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 Share the site with others. Don'tDeleteMeBro.com.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here. From the Q Research Board's June 3, 2026, now to the economy and tech. The Labor Department reported that job openings rose to 7.6 million in April 2026, an increase of 731,000. The JOLTS report shows labor demand remains active, but the broader economy still faces pressure from inflation, hiring freezes, and uncertainty in several industries. The Bureau of Labor Statistics also released county employment and wages data for the fourth quarter of 2025. Employment increased in 169 of the 372 largest U.S. counties from December 2024 to December 2025, giving a county-level look at where job growth is happening and where it is not. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise shares jumped after a major earnings beat driven by AI-related demand. The company beat revenue and earnings expectations, with strong growth in servers, cloud, AI, and networking. The market is rewarding companies positioned inside the artificial intelligence infrastructure build-out. Nvidia is also pushing deeper into personal computing with new chips designed to bring AI directly onto PCs. Nvidia and Microsoft are promoting Windows-native AI agents, RTX systems, and high-performance local computing. Jensen Huang's strategy is clear. Nvidia wants a role in every layer of the AI stack. Amazon has reportedly axed the new Stargate television series. For fans of the franchise, the cancellation is another example of major studios struggling to revive legacy science fiction properties while balancing budgets, audience expectations, and streaming platform priorities. Meanwhile, Entourage creator Doug Ellin says he is disgusted by the decline of Los Angeles and is publicly supporting Spencer Pratt. His comments add another celebrity voice to the growing criticism of LA leadership on homelessness, crime, taxes, and quality of life. Nick Saban and others testified before the Senate on protecting college sports. The hearing focused on the future of athletes, compensation, competitive balance, and whether Congress should create national rules. College sports is no longer just a campus issue. It is now a federal policy fight. Serena Williams has reportedly announced a comeback to professional tennis. If confirmed, that move would bring one of the sport's biggest names back into competition and immediately raise attention around women's tennis, sponsorships, and tournament coverage. The White House Correspondents' Dinner has been rescheduled for July 24 after a shooting disrupted the original event. President Trump says he will attend, and organizers say the new dinner will include tighter security and a smaller format. The event now carries both political and security significance. Tulsi Gabbard says her husband, Abraham Williams, is beginning surgical treatment for a rare form of bone cancer. Gabbard has announced she is stepping away from public service to support him through treatment. Supporters have responded with prayers and messages of encouragement. Now to faith and culture. Commentator Wright argued that inherited faith, tradition, and institutions have been replaced by propaganda, technological management, and a new social order. The message is less about one policy fight and more about a deeper cultural question: who shapes society, families, beliefs, and public behavior? New polling and analysis suggest that public acceptance of same-sex marriage may be stalling after decades of rising support. The shift matters because it may signal a broader cultural pause after years of rapid social change. A German priest is also drawing criticism after saying the Bible should be read through a queer lens. That statement lands inside a broader fight over whether churches should conform scripture to modern identity politics or hold to historic Christian teaching. For many believers, this is a line in the sand issue. Texas Democrat James Tallarico is facing questions over his relationship with a former staffer and abortion lobbyist. The story raises the usual issues voters expect answered: conflicts of interest, personal conduct, and whether political relationships are influencing public policy positions. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is also being criticized over support for Graham Plattner, despite controversy involving a Nazi tattoo and adultery allegations. The political problem is simple. Democrats often demand accountability from opponents, but voters are watching how they handle scandals inside their own camp. Now to space, science, and the closing segment. NASA and space stories remain active today, with multiple updates circulating on missions, imagery, and space science. NASA's astronomy picture of the day features Andromeda seen through gas and dust, highlighting the scale and structure of one of the closest major galaxies to our Milky Way. These stories may not carry the political weight of war or elections, but national capability is also measured by exploration, engineering, and scientific reach. A magnitude 5.7 earthquake was reported west-southwest of Pistol River, Oregon. Offshore quakes in that region are watched closely because the Pacific Northwest sits near the Cascadia subduction zone. No major damage was included in the initial item, but the location deserves attention. Today in Q-Post history, researchers flagged 11 deltas and 11 posts connected to the date June 3. For followers of the archive, these date markers are used to compare past drops with current events and look for patterns, timing, and repeated themes. Project Looking Glass is also back in the discussion stream. The topic is tied to forecasting, timelines, and future event modeling, and it belongs in today's information war research lane. That is the rundown this morning. The Gulf is active. Washington is fighting over intelligence, surveillance, banking, and the budget. California is counting votes. Britain is facing public anger over crime and speech enforcement. AI infrastructure is moving fast. And America's 250th anniversary is already becoming a battle over memory, identity, and national direction. This has been Qnotables 4 a.m. Talking Points Live. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and keep watching the notables.
Every voice matters. The power of free speech is more important than ever. Imagine a place where you can share your thoughts freely, explore new ideas, and engage in meaningful conversations anonymously. With online anonymity, you can express yourself without fear of judgment. It's about freedom, creativity, and connection. Join the conversation that matters. Embrace your voice. Celebrate your freedom. Visit 8kun.top today. That's 8kun.top.
That's all for now. Stay alert, stay informed, and never hand your thinking over to anyone on a screen, including me. God bless you. God bless our